Reading with your kids.
Hey, so great to see you. Come on in. Hi, my name is Jedley, and this is the Reading with Your Kids podcast, a special Thanksgiving edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. As my pastor, Father Wright, used to say, so much to be thankful for. We have so much to be thankful for, and we are thankful to have our very special guest today, Dr. John Degarmo. He is a father, he's a husband, he's an author, he is an expert in the field of foster parenting, and he's here with some very, very valuable lessons about life, love, and thankfulness. You know, I know that you are very thankful for the people in your life that are special to you, especially the young people in your life that are special to you, especially those young people with the big, bright, curious eyes, the ones who want to know how everything works, the ones who are so curious, so passionate about learning. You want to find them that perfect gift that will really spark that imagination. Well, Little Passports is that perfect holiday gift for curious kids of all ages. Little Passports delivers fun-filled packages right to their door every single month, filled with engaging, hands-on activities, interactive projects, and unique souvenirs just waiting to be discovered. Little Passport's monthly subscriptions are designed to spark children's curiosity about geography, world culture, or science. From exploring sea creatures in Costa Rica to building a Big Ben like the one in England or making an ancient Greek headpiece, every month is a different adventure that will fuel their imagination and spark their natural curiosity of the world around them. It's the perfect gift for kids ages 3 to 13 this holiday season. Order today at littlepassports.com/reading. That's littlepassports.com/reading. Joining us on the line right now from Monticello, right outside of Atlanta in Georgia. He has been a guest on my former Choose Respect podcast, and I love having him on. I especially love having him on in November, which is National Adoption Month. Please welcome back to the show, Dr. John Degarmo. Dr. John, how are you?
I'm great. Thank you so much for having me on the program.
Super to have you back. Really looking forward to talking about this because you are a foster care expert. You're devoted. You've been a foster parent to, what is it, 24 foster kids?
Maybe about 60 kids, maybe.
Okay, so a little bit more than 24.
Yeah.
But in our past conversations, you really opened up my eyes to some of the issues around foster care and how we can help, even if we're not the foster parents, how we can help foster kids. And I've mentioned on the show, we've had a new foster niece come into our life probably about a year and a half, maybe 2 years ago, and she has absolutely changed my life. She is someone who is incredibly dear to me, and I'm so happy to have her in my life. And I think, you know, maybe part of the reason I was so willing to open up my heart to her was some of the conversations that we've had. So I'm really excited to get back. And why don't we just start by talking about what it is that drew you to foster care and how it changed your life?
Oh, thank you. You know, it has changed my life. Absolutely. In so many ways. I think I told you before, I never really intended to be a foster parent. I never had any thoughts about it. I did have thoughts about it. I had negative misconceptions about foster care, as I think many people do in society. I thought the kids were bad kids and that foster parents were kind of weird. Well, that last part's true. Foster parents are a little bit weird. It's really a different lifestyle that most don't understand. The kids are just children who are victims of abuse or victims of neglect or victims of abandonment. They're just simply kids who want someone to help them and to love them. And foster parenting is something that is a very different type, as I said earlier, a very different type of lifestyle. I did it. My wife and I got into it because it wasn't until after the death of my first child that I really recognized the miracle of life, if you will. And when I was teaching years ago in a rural high school setting, I noticed a lot of kids in my own classroom that were suffering from poor attendance, and I kept wondering what's going on here. And then I noticed that it was due to, for many kids, parental involvement and the environment they came from. And so that led my wife and I to becoming foster parents to over 60 kids over the past 16 years. And since this is National Adoption Month, I have been blessed to adopt 3 of those children from foster care.
It really is an amazing gift, an amazing, I was going to say sacrifice, and it is a sacrifice in some ways, but I think
It is.
you've told me that you get so much more out of it.
I do, absolutely. But, you're right, it is a sacrifice because a foster parent doesn't lead a normal lifestyle. Mm-hmm. When these children come into our home, when they're placed into our home and our family, as foster parents, we are in charge of them 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, 365 days a year. So that does not mean that my wife and I can just shoot off to the movies or go shopping or out to dinner on a whim, mm-hmm. or even get a babysitter. We are in charge of with these children who are coming with a number of different anxieties and are facing lots of trauma. So, it's a really different type of, every day is a unique adventure and challenge. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, it's the most rewarding thing I've ever done. And I firmly believe that every child that has come through my home has made me a better person in some way.
Mm-hmm. Well, I certainly can attest to that. I think our foster niece has helped me grow in so many ways. And one of the things that you kind of opened my eyes to in the times that we've talked in the past is that being a foster parent isn't for everybody, but everybody can help and support a foster parent, foster family. And what you just mentioned, it's your wife and you just can't run out to the movies and call up the typical babysitter so that you can go out on the town. But in our case, we can, we've developed this relationship. We have this relationship with our foster niece, so she can come over and allow her foster mom to go out and to go to meetings or stay late at work, and so we're delighted that we can do that. How else can folks help a foster family?
Oh, there's a number of ways, and thanks for asking. I really focused on that in the book Faith and Foster Care. And in fact, the sequel comes out in February called The Church and Foster Care. And it is my belief that the next mission field for today's faith-based organizations, whatever faith it might be, that mission field is in our own backyards, in every single community. There's roughly 500,000 kids in foster care in America, not enough homes. There are roughly 300,000 children who are victims of human trafficking in our nation, and again, in every community. And while not everybody can be a foster parent, everybody can help in some way, including faith-based organizations. They can be tutors. They can be mentors. They can provide school supplies. They can provide clothing. When it's time for birthdays or holidays for these children, they can help the foster parents with gifts. Faith-based organizations are a wonderful place to host a clothes closet, if you will, or maybe to host foster parent support group meetings. They can help out with meals for foster parents. They can have book bags stuffed with new pajamas and clothing and teddy bears when the kids are placed into care initially. Those are just a few things that people can do to help the children right there in their own community. And what I want to point out is this. When someone helps these children in this way, including the faith-based organizations, they're not just helping the child. They're not just helping the foster parent. They're also helping that birth parent who is suffering in their own way. These birth parents may have committed heinous crimes against these children. At the same time, they're also most likely hurting themselves in some way, struggling with their own trauma, struggling with their own anxiety, whatever it may be. Mm-hmm. 2 of the 3 kids I've adopted are 3rd generation foster care, which means their parents and their grandparents were also in foster care, and the cycle just repeated itself because they never got the healing or the help that they needed.
Mm-hmm. And I think at the same time we're also helping our community because these human beings are part of our community.
Right.
and they're hurting, and they're going to keep on hurting until someone comes by and helps them heal.
That's right. That's right. And that's a great point. When a child ages out of foster care, in some states it's 18, in other states it may be 21. But when they age out, when they leave the system, the statistics for them are so grim. 55% of them will drop out of school. 65% of them will end up homeless. 75% of them will spend some time in jail very quickly. So when we help these children, we help these youth, we help to reduce the homeless rate, the crime rate. We bring up the graduation rate. So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right. You help the whole community.
You know, I want to talk a little bit more about the faith-based and this being a great mission field. But also I don't want it to slip my mind. You know, you talked about buying a book bag for kids filled with some supplies or with pajamas or things like that. That can seem so trivial, but so many of these kids, they bounce from home to home.
They do.
And a lot of them, I'd probably say the majority of them, the way that they take the little belongings that they have from one place to another is in a green plastic garbage bag.
Right.
And a thing like a book bag, a thing like a backpack or a small suitcase that they can call their own, it really must give the kids that really needed dignity.
Right. It gives them dignity. It gives them a sense of pride. It reminds them that they do matter. Because, can you imagine a black plastic bag is all they have for their possessions? What does that say about them? Mm-hmm. It tells them this message, that they're garbage, that they're worthless. So we try to make sure that each child who leaves our home has a brand new suitcase filled with all of their things. Yeah. So you're right. When a child is placed into foster care, that backpack filled with toothbrushes, toothpaste, deodorants, hygiene, pajamas, teddy bears, books, whatever it may be. Yeah, that's a great gift that tells them immediately, hey, you are important and you are valued.
Mm-hmm. You know, I wanted to go back and touch on this faith in foster care and the church in foster care, because my wife and I, we lead a ministry to the homeless, and it's been a powerful thing in our lives, and we hope it's meant something to the folks that we minister to. And we're just serving desserts on Friday nights, but the folks there seem to really enjoy it. I want to talk to you about how we can kind of proactively minister to kids who may potentially be future homeless folks, and how we can help them, how we can support them now that they're in foster care, so we can change that cycle and change that their trajectory of life. Before John shares his thoughts about this very important issue, I want to share with you what I think is a really, really fantastic holiday gift for the kid in your life, the curious kid in your life, or maybe this conversation that I'm having with John Degarmo is inspiring you to want to go out and get a wonderful gift for a curious foster kid that lives in the neighborhood. Well, if you are, Little Passports is a perfect holiday gift for any curious kid of all ages. Little Passports delivers fun-filled packages right to their door every single month with engaging hands-on activities, interactive projects, and unique souvenirs just waiting to be discovered. Little Passport's monthly subscriptions are designed to spark children's curiosity about geography, world culture, or science. From exploring sea creatures in Costa Rica to building a Big Ben like the one in England or making an ancient Greek headpiece, every month is a different adventure that will fuel their imagination and spark their natural curiosity of the world around them. It's the perfect gift for kids ages 3 to 13 this holiday season. Order yours today at littlepassports.com/reading. That's littlepassports.com/reading. Now doing foster care, so we can change that cycle and change that their trajectory of life.
Well, my wife and I, as I conduct this interview with you, my wife and I are living in a residential home for boys that we both founded. It's called Never Too Late. And we're the house parents right now, and we teach these boys important living skills, important social skills, so that when they do leave, they're prepared for society, they're prepared for life outside. Because some of these children don't come in, they come into care without any type of social skills or living skills. So it's important that we teach those skills to them. But in the faith-based component, as I said earlier, I really believe that this is the next mission field. I have spent a number of summers in Mexico building houses for the homeless. My children have been to Nicaragua and Honduras, and those are all wonderful opportunities. Wonderful opportunities. But I think faith-based organizations need to appreciate the fact that they don't have to look very far. Right in their own backyard, there are children who are suffering, children of God, if you will, who are suffering. So faith-based organizations have this opportunity to heal this child, their birth parents, the foster parents, the whole community, right outside their backyard.
Mm-hmm. And one of my favorite, and I botch it all the time, but one of my favorite quotes from Mother Teresa, she says it's really easy to care for someone on the other side of the world. It's harder sometimes for us to care for the suffering people who are in our families and in our communities.
Oh, absolutely. For me, it's I cling to a scripture verse, it's Matthew 25:35, which says, "For I was hungry, and you gave me something to eat. I was thirsty, and you gave me something to drink. I was naked, and you gave me clothing." To me, that's these children. That's these children who live right where I live.
Mm-hmm. And, so much, we hear so much, and this certainly is not a political show by any means, but so many people are talking about being pro-life, and I think that's wonderful, but we need to be pro-life all the time. We need to be pro the kids who are living with us and in need right at this moment.
Oh, I couldn't agree more. I think children need to hear three things every day. They need to hear someone appreciate them in some way. Like, hey, I appreciate you did a great job with doing the dishes, or I'm really grateful for you helping feed the dog. They need to hear thank you. Thank you so much for helping with this. And then they also need to hear this. They need to hear that someone loves them. I love you. They need to hear those three things every day. They're appreciated, they're thanked, and they love them. And that, we all need to hear that, not just little babies, but up until high school and beyond. I need to hear those things myself, 50 years of age.
And I got a few years on you, and I need to hear it myself. You brought up that idea of thanks and being thankful, and this is being published right around Thanksgiving time, and I wanted to share this message at Thanksgiving time because we spend Thanksgiving and we are thankful for what we have, and then so many of us run out at midnight to get in line or to body check someone out of the way so we can get that latest piece of technology that might be on sale $20 cheaper. I want to challenge folks to really be thankful this year and to make a commitment to really show the appreciation for what they have by sharing some of what they have with foster kids who have nothing.
Nothing is right. Nothing is right. So many times they come with just the clothes on their back. I don't know how many kids have come to my house with only that, and only the clothes on their back, with shoes that are way too small and ripped, with jackets that are clothing stapled together. In our community, in our nation, which we say is the greatest nation in the world, yet we have children who are going to school with clothes stapled together, who are waking up hungry in the morning, and that's in our communities. So when we help these children in foster care, we're helping that. And for me, you said the time of Thanksgiving. I am so thankful to have the opportunity to help these children every single day of my life.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
To give back.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And again, it's, we don't do good deeds to feel good about ourselves or to get a attaboy. But I have to tell you, I just keep going back to this, and I've mentioned her so many times. I am so very grateful for the foster kid that's in my life right now, and I don't know what I would do without her.
Yeah, I agree. As I said earlier, every child's made me a better person in some way that's come through my home, and I consider every child that's come through my home, whether it's adoptive, biological, or foster, as part of my family. I don't see labels. I don't see labels as in regards to foster, adopted, biological. They're all my children. They're all my family. And I love each one of them unconditionally.
You make a really, really good and important point. One of the things I hear from folks when I've talked to them about fostering or whatever, it's, I don't know if I could bond with that kid. And I think you hit it on the head. When these kids come into your home, you make a choice to love them and to make them part of your family.
I hear this, and foster parents across the nation hear this. I don't think I could do what you do because it would hurt too much to give the kids back. I might become too attached. And my response is always the same. That's how it's supposed to be. That's how it's supposed to be. Your heart is supposed to hurt. You're supposed to grieve. You're supposed to cry when these kids leave your home, because that means you've given that child what they need more than anything else. Children in foster care need stability and they need security, but what they need more than anything else is someone to love them with all their heart, unconditionally. So when they leave, a part of our hearts break, but that means we've given them what they need, someone to love them. And then we might be, as foster parents, we might be the first person who has ever loved them in that fashion. So what a wonderful gift that we can give with them that they'll take with them for the rest of their life. Somebody loved me at some point.
Absolutely. Well, I know that you've written many books on the subject, and they're not kid books. They're not books that we're going to sit down and cuddle up with our kids on the couch and read aloud to. But is there one of your books that you think would be appropriate for a teenager and parent to kind of co-read and to sit down and talk about?
No, thanks for asking. So, I actually do have a children's book called A Different Home, a new foster child story. It's a book for children in foster care to have read to them by a caregiver, a foster parent, or someone like yourself to help answer some of their questions and ease some of their anxieties. It's a beautifully illustrated book. But for those teenagers, I used to work in a school setting, and I found that so many of my students, and I never encouraged it, but they all wanted to read my book, Fostering Love, One Foster Parent's Journey. It was a very frank, honest book. I didn't sugarcoat anything. I explained it was a memoir, my first 10 years as a foster parent. There's lots of humor, lots of sadness, full of the challenges, the griefs, the joys, the sorrows, the adventures of being a foster dad. And I think that's a book that both teenager and parent would enjoy. I wanted to write something that said, this is what it's like being a foster parent.
Now, I think I stepped on you when you were telling us the name of your children's book. So remind everybody that name.
Oh, thanks for asking. A Different Home, a new foster child's story. And I wrote that book because when a child's placed into care, they have these questions. They're scared. It's a time of fear. No child wants to be placed in foster care. It's scary for them because we're strangers. So they have questions like, why am I here? When do I go home? When do I see mommy next? And then so many times they cry themselves to sleep because they're in a stranger home. And my norm, I can provide all the stability and security for these children, but those first few nights, they're confused, they're scared, they're worried. They may think it's their own fault. They might think that mommy no longer loves them. So this book, this beautifully illustrated book, is designed again for them to have read to them to answer their questions.
So I would suggest, folks, pick that book up, and if you don't have kids that you want to sit down and read this book with, this is a great book to donate to a foster family in your community.
It's also a great book I have found that for children who don't understand the foster care system. There's children in foster care in every school. So it's a great a great book for elementary libraries to have, so their teachers can read to the kids and explain a little bit about what the foster care system is like. Because most likely there's a child in the classroom right there, the kid's wondering, hey, what does it mean being a child from foster care? Foster care? What is that? What is that?
Right, exactly. Well, so much. I mean, I could sit and talk to you all day long, but I know you're busy, and I know folks are going to want to know how they can get involved. So first off, tell us a little bit of how folks can support that great group, that residential home that you and your wife have created.
Oh, you're very kind. Thanks for asking. We call it Never Too Late because we think it's never too late for a child to have a happy childhood. or to find that love or to find that healing. Never too late. You can simply find it by when you go to my website, the Foster Care Institute, or just Google Dr. John Degarmo. The Foster Care Institute, Dr. John Degarmo, and you'll see a link to Never Too Late there. And we're completely nonprofit, completely dependent upon the grants and donations and contributions and partnership with other people. As you noted from the very beginning, not everybody can be a foster parent, but everybody can help in some way. And this is one way they can help boys in need by supporting Never Too Late.
Mm-hmm. And if a church community or other kind of, and it doesn't have to be a church community, it can be your reading club. If you belong to a reading club, if you belong to the Kiwanis or the Elks or whoever, if they want to get involved and have some kind of clothes closet or some kind of book bag drive, how can they connect with local foster care people?
Well, I've got a whole chapter about that in the book, Faith in Foster Care, but really, quite simply, they just contact their local child welfare agency, whether it's a private agency in their town or their state-run agency, and simply say, hey, you know what, we want to open up a clothes closet, and we just want to let you, it's as simple as opening it up, and then letting people know, hey, we're here for you, we're here to serve you. Mm-hmm. The need is so strong for things like that, let me tell you.
Absolutely, and we have to make it better. I think we all have a moral responsibility to make it better. These kids are suffering, and we can make a difference. And I'm so happy that you're making a difference. You and your family are making such a difference.
Oh, you're very kind. Very kind. Thank you.
Our guest tonight has been Dr. John Degarmo. Make sure you check out his book, Faith in Foster Care, and go to his website. Tell us the website again, please, John.
The Foster Care Institute.
The Foster Care Institute. Dr. John Degarmo, thanks so much for being with us.
Hey, thank you so much. Thank you. Happy Thanksgiving.
Please be sure to join us for the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast. Our guest will be author Cindy Hanley Godot. She is going to be here, and she's going to be telling us about her wonderful new book, The Adventures of Princess Jellybean. Really, really excited that she's going to be here. Hey, if you're the author of a wonderful children's book, we would love to have you on this show, being a guest on the Reading with Your Kids podcast. It's fun, it's easy, and it is absolutely free. All you need to do is go to our website, readingwithyourkids.com, click on that contact button, let us know about your book. We'll let you know the next step. And like I said, it's really, really easy. Hey, you know what else is easy? Going to see our friends at littlepassports.com/reading. Little Passports is a perfect holiday gift for that curious kid on your list. With the subscription to Little Passports, kids get a fun-filled package each month designed to inspire their curiosity in geography, world cultures, or science. It's great for kids of all ages. You can order today at littlepassports.com/reading. Hey, want to thank Dr. John Degarmo for helping us get a peek inside the lives of foster kids and giving us some ideas of ways we can help change the trajectory of their lives, and in doing so, change our lives as well. So thank you to Dr. John for being here. Thank you to our friends at littlepassports.com/reading for sponsoring the show. And of course, we want to thank you. Thank you so much for being a caring, wonderful human being. Thank you so much for taking the time to make the world a better place by reading with your kids. We'll be looking for you in the next edition of the Reading with Your Kids podcast.